Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I have the quickest, easiest, most fun quilt to show you today. So let's take a look at this quilt behind me. This is the Pixie Sticks quilt, and I don't know if you ever played Pixie Sticks as a child, but I did, and I just think this is an adorable idea. So to make this quilt, you're going to need 3 packs of 5-inch squares, and we have used Sunprints 2022 10th Anniversary Collection by Alison Glass for Andover. You're going to need 1/4 yard of a white solid fabric, and you're going to need 1 yard of black, and that includes this inner border. For the backing, we use the same fabric, and you're going to need 4 1/4 yards of that, or if you're using a 108, you'll need 2 1/4 yards. This makes a quilt that is 63 by 67. And the quilting pattern we used is Time Warp. So I just think this is such a fun quilt. It can be modern or traditional. It just has a great look to it, and it's super easy. So let me show you how to do this. First, we're going to go to our charm pack, and we're going to take out about 4 at a time. Now you can cut as many of these as your blade will handle, but we're going to take about 4 of these, and then I'm just going to take my little ruler and I'm going to put it anywhere I want to on this block, just like this, and I'm just going to make a cut. And now we need our middle strip. Now your middle strip is a 1-inch piece, and don't be afraid of that. It's just super easy. You're just going to take your fabric like this. I like to fold mine fold to selvage like this, so I have a smaller area I'm working with. And if your fabric is uneven at all, because we're dealing with such a small area, you'll want to trim that up and make it even. I've recently cut a strip off here so it looks great. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to move it to the 1-inch line just like this. Keep a firm hand on it and just cut right along there, and you have your little 1-inch strip. And so for this quilt, you can see that I used mostly black strips, but this quilt also had some dark fabrics in it. So here, I threw in that little white strip here and there, and I just think it makes it pop, and it's so much fun. Obviously, you can use any color you want, but I use this black. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab this stack right here, and I'm going to keep them together as a stack, and I'm going to put this one over here on my sewing machine under the throat so it's ready to go, and I'm going to chain piece these. Now, on one strip, you can get 8 of these 5-inch squares on there. I just have 4, and that's what we'll do for now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my strip right down here, and then I'm going to put my piece with the angle, and I'm going to put my strip on top of it. Now leave a little bit extra at the top and the bottom because it's on an angle, and when you fold that, you want to make sure that it stays straight across. I would normally use black thread for this, but I'm using white thread so you can see it. And we're just going to go along here and sew it on 1/4 inch. And then I'm just going to slide this next one under here, leaving a little bit of space, about a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to slide the next one like this. Leave a little bit of room. And one more. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip these apart. And I'm just going to go about in the middle of where my little piece was. And you can press these back now. You can finger press them or go to the iron and press them back. I'm just going to go to the iron and roll them back. And if you keep them in the order that you sewed them, which I don't think I did, but I would if I were chain piecing these. If you keep them in the order, then when you get back to your machine, they're already stacked up in that order. The first one is right. And then we're just going to add this piece to the other side. Now let me show you how this is going to look on here. So I have my little extra on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to line this up. 1 inch is not very much to look across. So just look across here. Know that this needs to go up just a hair. You can fold it back to see if it's going to match up along the top. We can trim those up a little bit if we want, but I try to get it as close as I can. And then we're just going to sew that right on there like that. And we're going to go down and sew this other side of all of these. Just like this. You can actually leave your strip intact if you want to. whatever works for you. This is one of those quilts that you're going to be surprised at how fast it goes together. And actually, when I first made it, I thought, oh, this will be a cute little baby quilt, so I'll use one charm pack. So I made it with one charm pack, and I was like, I wonder what 2 charm packs would look like. And then I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go for 3 charm packs. And so 3 makes a nice lap quilt, you know, or a toddler bed quilt, or, you know, across your lap, or wherever it is you want to use a smaller quilt. It just works really well, and it's very quick. There's a lot of these little quilts out there, and this is just my take on it. All right, so here's our last one here. And you'll get pretty good at eyeballing these. All right, and just like that, we have made 4 blocks. So let me cut these apart. We'll come over here and press them. So then we're just going to press all these back. And then you just want to clean up the top and bottom of these squares. And so I just laid a ruler across. I'm matching it on my corners, cutting straight across like this. And we're going to do this to all of them. And here's one more. And here's my last little one, trimming off the top, trimming off the bottom. And just like that, you've got 4 blocks done. Now, the reason I did 4 at a time is because you really want all these little angles to go different directions. And so let's look at the quilt. So I have all different angles here. I didn't worry about if they connected. That didn't bother me at all as I'm laying it out. I worried about my color placement. And so, you know, if they're off a little bit, if they're way off, I just think it adds to the interest. And so literally what I did was I just took my blocks like this and I sewed them together in rows. So we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in each row, and we did 12 rows, and that makes 120. And so you have a few blocks left over, but it just goes together so quick. Now remember, on the dark ones I used a light, you know, on the light ones I used a dark. Just make sure you have some variety in your cuts. And we just sewed them all together. Now this block is going to be a 1/2 inch wider than it is tall, so you can't actually turn it and have it fit. But as long as you've got them all going up and down, you can just sew your rows all together and it will work. We then put a little 1.5 inch sashing out here. I thought keeping with the small size was perfect. And then I put a nice big 6-inch border out here because I thought it was really fun. Our backing, look how pretty the backing looks. And don't you love this quilting pattern? This quilting pattern is called Time Warp, and it's just perfect, I think, for this quilt. So again, it makes a quilt that is 63 by 67, and it's just fun. It goes together so quickly, and if you can cut a charm pack in half, you're going to have a quilt that looks just like this. Have fun with this, enjoy it, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Pixie Sticks quilt from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you aren't already part of the Missouri Star Quilt Company family, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss a thing. And if you click that bell, it'll notify you every time a new tutorial comes out. See you next Friday.